To start off, I want to acknowledge how messed up this situation is, and I understand why my boyfriend would be upset and even suspicious, but I can't believe he doesn't trust me. So, I, 25F, have been with my boyfriend, Paul, 25M, for 3 years. In the beginning of our relationship, Paul had some trust issues, as he had been cheated on in the past. I made it clear right away that I had never cheated on anyone, that I would not, and that I understood if he had trust issues from the past, but that it was a deal breaker for me to be with someone who couldn't trust me. Since those early days, he has been really good about it, and throughout our 3 years together, I think I have earned his trust. I have always been honest with him and never cheated on him. He's asked to see conversations of mine that I've had with male friends twice over those 3 years, and I've obliged. The second time, however, I made it clear to him that I was very unhappy to be treated as though I was acting suspiciously and did not deserve privacy with my friends when he had no reason at all to think I was being shady. I said that if he didn't trust me because of something I had said or done, I was 100% happy to have a conversation about that, to discuss it, and to address any issues he had, but if I had done literally nothing to cause suspicion, then I expected him to trust me. He agreed with me, said that I had done nothing, and never asked again. One of those conversations he asked about was with my friend, Roger, 24M. 2 years before I started dating Paul, Roger had confessed feelings of love for me. I told him I wasn't interested, and that was that. By the time I was seeing Paul, I had absolutely no reason to think things were anything but platonic between Roger and myself. A week ago, Roger and I got together for coffee. Again, I want to stress that before this happened I had literally no reason at all to think he had held on to those feelings. At the cafe, Roger suddenly went on this impassioned monologue about how much he still loved me, how Paul was a terrible boyfriend and I should dump him and be with Roger, how loyal Roger was, how perfect we were together, etc. I was pretty much silent through this whole speech because I was so surprised and uncomfortable, but when he stopped, I told him in no uncertain terms that I loved Paul, that I was absolutely not leaving Paul, and that I needed to go home immediately. I was shaken up by the whole thing, so I took my time getting home to calm down. However, by the time I got home, I found that Roger had sent a long, utterly insane Facebook message to Paul detailing how much he loved me, that we were destined to be together, and heavily implying but not outright stating that Roger and I had been carrying on an affair for weeks. I don't know why he did this. I have no explanation, and Paul believes it completely. He has listened to my explanation of things but thinks I am lying. He doesn't want to see me or talk to me at all anymore. I'm completely devastated that Paul would believe this Facebook message over me. I'm horrified that my relationship with him has ended like this. I'm embarrassed that now I'm being seen as a cheater and a SLT who slept around on Paul. I'm utterly hateful toward Roger. It's been a week, and I can't convince Paul to talk to me. I know he had those trust issues in the past, but I really believed we were long past them. What should I do? Commenter. As messed up as what Roger did truly is, it's also true that you partially brought this on yourself. You can't be friends with someone after they tell you that they love you. For God's sake, he didn't tell you he saw you as more than a friend, he didn't tell you that he had a crush on you. He told you he loved you. Did you think that was just going to evaporate? You had no business remaining friends with him after that. You know why? Because 1, it did a major disservice to Roger. He can't move on with his life as long as you're in it. And because 2, he was a threat to your relationship. And if you want proof of that, read your post. I definitely hear what you're saying, but I just want to point out that I never believed feelings would magically evaporate. Roger said he loved me 5 years ago, and we were distant from each other for about a year after he told me he loved me. Then we reconnected through mutual friends and were friends for a year before I dated Paul. During that year, he acted totally platonically around me, and I guess I thought he had had enough time to get over his feelings. He's been totally platonic as well for the 3 years I've been with Paul. Obviously, I was wrong, and you are right about how I should have cut him out. But I didn't think the feelings would just disappear. I thought the year we weren't really in contact had made them go away. However, Paul has already heard the whole and complete story, including what Roger said 5 years ago. He thinks I'm lying, however, when I say there is nothing between Roger and me now. Should I still push the issue with Paul and try to make him talk to me? He's heard everything already, he just refuses to believe me. Update 1. I want to thank everyone so much for commenting. Before I post what happened, I just want to address a few things that I didn't get to in the first post. First, Paul knew I was having coffee with Roger. It wasn't some kind of secret thing. Paul has female friends he has lunch or coffee with alone too, so this isn't unusual in our relationship. Second, Paul did not know that Roger had said he loved me 5 years ago. I definitely made a mistake not telling him that, but honestly, it was so long ago, and I thought it was old history. We did not extensively discuss our pasts, so there wasn't really a natural point where it would have come up, and it just never occurred to me to say anything. Finally, Roger and I did not have a particularly intense friendship. It's not like we were texting constantly or best buddies, we hung out occasionally and would be in touch if something relevant came up, but we didn't just chat randomly. Anyway, with that said, I took the advice of some Redditors. When I was a little calmer, I messaged Roger on Facebook, asking him why he lied. He responded with, "What do you mean?" At which point I started pressing him harder. He responded only with one-word answers and honestly didn't reply to most of my messages at all, no matter how much I asked, and never actually made any definitive statement like, "Yes, I lied for such and such a reason." Finally, I sent him a definitive statement that said I had never had an affair with him, that I was incredibly hurt and angry, that our friendship was over, and that he was never to contact me again. He replied, "Okay," and that was that. I sent the entire Facebook conversation to Paul, not thinking it would help save us but just to try and clear my name. In the message, I asked him if Roger's reactions to my questions and my response to Roger were in line with what he would expect if Roger's accusations were true. Paul didn't respond that day, but the next day he called me. Paul basically said that the more he thought about it, the more he believed me, and that the conversation between Roger and me helped him believe that. He said Roger's responses didn't make sense and that he now thought nothing had happened. However, he said despite that, the trust was broken between us, and he couldn't be with me. I got pretty mad and yelled at him, asking why I was being punished for nothing, and he just basically disengaged from the discussion. Not my finest moment, I know, I was just so overwhelmed with frustration. We did eventually end the conversation calmly, if not amiably, and he is dropping off the stuff that I had left at his apartment later this week. I learned my lesson. Not only will any declaration of interest by a friend end that friendship forever, but I will never date someone who has trust issues or a history of being cheated on again. I'm sure I come across as a little bitter about this, but honestly, I feel like there was absolutely no point to my fidelity and honesty during those 3 years. I got treated like a cheater whether or not I cheated, and both Paul and I ended up hurt and alone despite being 100% faithful. It's better to end up alone or stick to friends with benefits than to invest another 3 years in a relationship only to have this be the conclusion.